It's working. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
Here we go. We're going live, folks.
All right, let's share the
Weird.
screen.
It was weird that it didn't work like last time.
Can you let me screen share?
Okay, 1 second. All right, we are live. Amanda, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Very good. I'm going to give you the ability to share screen.
Starting out with a technical glitch.
Yeah. You have power now, and you're now sharing your screen.
You can see it. Awesome.
There you go. We are live. Welcome everyone to Stocks and Stacks, episode number 3 with Amanda. How you doing today, Amanda?
I'm awesome. I was stoked for today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Stoked for today as well. Lots of crazy things going on in the news. Really excited to be live talking about it for the next hour. And we're going to go right to the end of market close in the stock market. But the biggest news right now that everyone's talking about in the crypto world and in the stock market, because it's affecting the stock market too, is the SEC charging both Coinbase and Binance. So what do you think about this news?
I think it is a effery. It's a crapshoot. It's so ridiculous, but we saw this coming, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. We talked about getting all of our crypto on hard wallets. I have a ledger. I know you have a hard wallet as well.
I have a coin card now.
Yeah, so now you have, a hard wallet as well. So we have hard wallets where we keep our crypto. We don't keep our crypto on exchanges like Coinbase and Binance. So we're not really affected by any of this because we've already anticipated this was going to happen.
That's right. We've warned people all year.
We've been talking about it nonstop. We saw it happen with FTX. Now they're going after Binance, which is the largest crypto exchange in the world. And they're going after the SEC in America is going after Coinbase, which is the largest crypto exchange that is regulated and public in America. It's big news. I mean, huge news. And wow, what do you think is going to happen here? Let's make some predictions.
Well, I know this sounds terrible, but I think that they're going to succeed in causing so much more drama. First of all, well, you know how Binance started, and you said, well, at least they still have Coinbase. I said, yeah, but last month they were issued a Wells notice. So that showed that they were onto them already, right?
Yep.
And Coinbase was keeping their mouth shut. But I figured when I saw that Coinbase was applying to go move their headquarters to El Salvador, which they got denied by El Salvador, but they were trying to move their headquarters. That was the first key that they were trying to get out of Dodge real quick, right?
For sure.
So that was a big tip off. And then as soon as they start suing Binance, when we were in our private trading group, I was like, watch out, because they're probably going to freeze assets. Sure enough, they applied for an emergency freeze of assets.
And they did this one day after the other. So first they went after Binance, and then the very next day, not giving anybody in crypto a chance to breathe, they went after Coinbase. And we've seen a record amount of outflows pulling out of Coinbase and out of Binance because of this news.
Yes.
Billions of dollars is being pulled out as we speak over the last, 48 to 72 hours in two of the largest exchanges in the world.
That's right.
Binance the largest and Coinbase the largest in America. So this is very disturbing for crypto. Despite that, Bitcoin's done well.
It has. And you know what? I think it's actually going to do more well. I think it's going to do amazing. And
can we explain why? Let's talk about why. A lot of people don't understand, but why is Bitcoin doing well with this bad news for crypto?
Because Bitcoin has the opportunity for people to have sovereign transactions. You can live anonymously. You can transact anonymously if you get it off of an exchange. So what I see happening is that whether it's going to happen right today or not, if you're not getting your stuff off Coinbase, I would rush now, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be next for the asset freeze, because more news came out for Coinbase today that's even worse. And what I think is that people are going to sell their altcoins and move it into Bitcoin and get it straight onto a cold storage while they're waiting for the drama to fall, because they're going even after Binance Global US people. So even if you're not in the US, but you're outside of the US and you registered even from another country, but you're American, you're frozen as well if this emergency act goes through.
It's crazy.
It is. So I think that a lot of altcoins are going to get moved into Bitcoin and then moved on to cold storage, which if you're not doing that, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you that's the best way to do right now. Oh, that's a nice Bitcoin you got right there.
Yeah, this is my Bitcoin. And I'll be honest with you guys, I think this is going to be very bullish for Bitcoin. I'm going to make a prediction that we're going to see Bitcoin and Ethereum continue higher for the next 2 years. I've been saying that.
That's right.
I believe really for 2023, 2024, and 2025, we are going to see a bull market in Bitcoin and Ethereum, which has already started this year, which we have predicted and we've talked about for quite some time. Since last year, we predicted that would be the bottom. And so far, we've been correct. And it's interesting to see how powerful Bitcoin is, because in the face of all of this adversity, and a lot of people would call this very negative news for crypto, Bitcoin has actually done well. And we're going to talk about that. And so has Ethereum. They've been extremely resilient in the face of a lot of adversity, unlike Coinbase and Binance, who have struggled. Binance's prices come down. Coinbase's prices come down. I think Coinbase is coming back a little bit today, but we've seen we've seen Coinbase really get hammered on this. And we're going to look at the charts and we're going to look at how this news is affecting everything. But the problem that I see here is, how do you go after these exchanges when there is already no legalization or any regulations in place internationally and within America when it comes to trading of securities? The other issue I have is, how do you put a lawsuit on Coinbase when 2 years ago they filed an S1 registration to go public and you approve their business model? You approve their business model. The SEC approved the business model of Coinbase 2 years ago, and millions of investors have invested from all over the world. And now they're coming out and saying, we want to sue you for your business practices. Why would you have approved them to go public in the first place? That's my question. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand this. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think I know exactly why.
Why?
I think they planned this exactly to happen the way it's happening. If you look at it, the US has been monitoring how much funds have been outflowing out of US dollar into crypto. They've been watching this outflow. It's in their best interest, since the US dollar is having a major issue. They want to stop it. So I think that this was like a really slimy way. They approved it so that they can go after them. Because what they're doing right now is they're using FDIC to get them. Did you see this that came up? Can you see my screen right now?
Yep.
So now, as of today, a collection of states are going after Coinbase for securities violations, because they're saying they had unregistered securities, Solana, Polygon, all these guys. And so it's Alabama, California, which I'm surprised about Cali, Illinois, Kentucky, Maryland, New Jersey, South Carolina, Vermont, Washington, and Wisconsin. And they're using the FDIC as their reason. What they're saying is, anybody who is staking is pretty much effed. So on the Coinbase level, they're using the staking in Coinbase to go against them. Wow. Isn't that messy?
Yeah, so let's take a look at the charts and let's see how this is affecting the markets. It's now 12:11 Pacific, 3:11 Eastern. We've got about 49 minutes left in the trading day. So how is this affecting the markets, Amanda? We got you on the charts today. So Amanda does an amazing job on the charts, and we've been doing a fantastic job actually with our picks, and we've been bang on pretty much all year on most of our picks, especially the large caps. We've been really following them very, very closely, and they've done extremely well. So is artificial intelligence, so is Bitcoin and Ethereum, and a lot of the top cryptos, and we're going to talk about that. So what do you see in the charts today, Amanda?
That's exactly our list. So what I see is that what the US wanted to happen looks like it's happening right now. So some people have this fear of Bitcoin and crypto. And it looks like it's piling into tech and other things, which is why we have a big spike daily candle on the US 30. The NASDAQ's pulling back, but that's expected because that was a pretty high run up. And I think it just needs to correct. I don't think it's going to be a solid pullback. Last week, we talked about oil going up, and it sure as hell did. Oil had a great week. Like all our oil picks last week were killing it. So pretty much everything we talked about last week on stocks and stats, they all still stand, and we've had nice rises. Like really nice rises. Last week we talked about travel stocks. They've been exploding since Wednesday as well. So pretty much most of last week's list is still going strong. But this, I think, is short-lived with the US 30 going up, I think, and Bitcoin is kind of just sitting here. What I see happening with Bitcoin is I think we're going to see a lot of volatility, because think about it this way. People who have to sell from Coinbase to get their stuff out of Coinbase and get their stuff out of Binance, if you're not, please do. Everyone that has to get that out, they have to sell in order to get that out usually, right?
Yeah,
not always,
obviously.
but a lot do. So I think we're going to see the down, like as people chunk out, we're going to see, a nice little correction. That'll be your time to pick it up, because then it's going to come back in. Because like I'm saying, anybody who's a smart investor is in the US is going to sell their altcoins, put it safely into Bitcoin until this drama settles, or you find an overseas place to do what you have to do.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. So, I mean, your options right now really, I think, are to move your crypto off of an exchange onto a hard wallet, which is what Amanda and I do. Or, like Amanda said, sell your crypto, which is what a lot of people are doing, and just cash out.
Yeah, and just
those are pretty much your options, right? Those are your two options. So that's why you're going to see a lot of these exchanges right now under a lot of pressure. I don't think it's just Coinbase and Binance. Those are the first two. Those are the biggest. You've seen FTX. So like first there was FTX. The SEC is also in a lawsuit right now currently with Ripple. And it looks like Ripple will win that case. If
Ripple wins that, that's going to help the case for Binance and Coinbase, just for the record. Of course.
Mind you, Binance and Coinbase are under investigation for different
reasons. You're right.
They're essentially saying
more Coinbase and less Binance would be.
They're essentially saying they're wash trading, which a lot of people have said they have been from day one, to create the illusion of liquidity so that retail and institutional investors will go in and buy their securities on their platforms.
That's right. But one thing to notice though, and this is super important, GBTC, so Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, has like 10 million Bitcoin or something, 10 million in Bitcoin, 10 million USD worth of Bitcoin sitting in Coinbase. And that is an institutional, it's a registered, so you can put it in your IRA, you can have it in your TFSA or RSPs if you're in Canada. That's GBTC, that's Grayscale. If they wipe out Grayscale, that's going to take a big chunk of institutional investments right off the board. So you got to take a good solid look at at whatever companies have their investments in Grayscale and expect a huge correction, because they're probably going to lose it. Keep that in mind too. Now, so look at Binance, like just crapping out. So Binance has pulled out of Canada because clearly Canada is going to be on the same train as the US. And now they're being frozen in the US.
Well, look at that drop on Binance. So you can see Binance down 7%, Bitcoin down 2%. Now, yesterday, Bitcoin had a huge move. Binance, I think, had a little bit of a move too. Ethereum had a nice move. And now today they're pulling back. But you can see Binance is pulling back more. And I know Amanda's going to look at Coinbase next, and you'll see that they're up today. But overall, over the last few days, they're down big because of this news of this lawsuit versus the SEC.
I think the only reason that Coinbase went up is Kathy Wood dumped like 20 mil on it. Was it 20 mil? Yeah, I believe 20 million.
Wow.
I'll have to double check, but it was a big amount. So I'm not sure if it was $20 million or 20 million shares. We're going to have to fact check which one's which, but pretty sure that's what accounted for this little recovery. But I do think it's going to end up just like Binance. Another one though, we have to remember is that Robinhood is public as well.
Yes.
And no one's talked about that, but this is an exchange that a lot of younger people, like the millennial generation, is using. However, one thing that might save them is they have like a tokenized base exchange system, right? So that might save them from being screwed. But just like the fact alone that Binance and Coinbase are being sued for different reasons, it's clearly that they're just picking them apart to find the one thing that they can get and then take them down because they want to get that money. If they get all that money frozen and sitting, then that's just going to be just like the Silk Road was.
Yeah,
right?
that's brutal.
And the US has sold all the Bitcoin that they had from Silk Road, which was a crazy amount. And they need to fix their balance books. So this could be the way, unfortunately. So if you're in any of these,
crazy. That's just
fail.
nuts. Steal everybody's money so that you can use it to pay off your own debts.
Isn't that how they do it? So
Oh my god. This is like modern day piracy.
It is.
Modern
It
day
really
pirates. Modern day pirates.
But you know what's really interesting is that we have I'm not American, but there's 3 presidential candidates that have Bitcoin on their campaign. And from what I understand, that all starts in August, I think, right? Campaign trail starts August. Am I
Because
correct?
then they can raise funds from international investors too.
Exactly. JFK Jr. has been taking Satoshis for his campaign already since Miami Bitcoin.
There you go. There you go.
So that right there alone is a great use case for Bitcoin. I think the altcoin conversation is going to be flat out disastrous, but I think that Bitcoin is going to rise stronger than ever. But
okay, so both you and I believe that Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to go higher, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, but both you and I agree that Coinbase and Robinhood, be very careful right now. I would be very careful.
I just wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Because you know what? If you see some news on them, there's a chance that that's propaganda news to get more people just to invest so they can take you out. So I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I think that's financial suicide. But we're not financial advisors. Just pretty good at this. Just
be careful and proceed with caution, guys. That's what we're trying to say to you guys. So that's why we do this. That's why we go through the charts. Remember, everything that we talk about is for information and education purposes. Please do your due diligence, do your research before you invest in anything we talk about or discuss. And past performance is not always an indication of future results. Amanda and I are not licensed advisors. We are investors just like you guys. We do take trades. If we are investing in something that we're going to talk about, we will always tell you. So full disclosure, I am an investor in Bitcoin and in Ethereum. And if we talk about any other stocks that I personally own, I'll always let you guys know. Now, all right, let's get through it.
We have good news. That was the bad news, but it's not really bad news because if you've been working with us, then you likely have a cold storage device. If you don't, it's time to hurry up and get one. But moving on, we have a lot of green. By some, we have a lot of green.
Yes, we found a lot of really good companies. It's been a great year. We're almost halfway through 2023, and it's been an amazing year so far in 2023. Thanks to really 2 sectors, the tech sector having a major rebound and artificial intelligence and precious metals. Actually, precious metals has been good too.
Right. Commodities in general. Now, I'm not, this next one, I'm not saying trading it, but this is what this means to me. When I see GameStop move, I see that retail traders are in the market.
Yes.
When you see GameStop move, you're like, oh, we're lighting up. Because this isn't a stock that people trade based on fundamentals. This is what people hype into. And we've had some big movements all this month. So historically, and I've looked back historically, I'll find the article again one day soon. But they said when you have a recession or big drama looming, small caps light up. And retail traders come out because they're looking for that quick dollar to settle the drama that they've had in their life. And we saw that at the beginning of the pandemic, and here we are again. So this was the end of March, big dip down until May 23rd. So for the last 2 weeks, GameStop has gone up 47% in 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's right. And the candle's still growing. So
I
I
didn't
think
even
the
see that
retail
move in
market,
GameStop. Well done. I didn't even notice that GameStop made that type of move.
I watch it all the time because it's like my compass for what people are doing. I'm not saying trade it. I'm just saying it's a compass. And the compass is looking quite alive. So word up on that.
That's crazy. It seems like it's finding a floor at that like $20 mark.
Yeah, it
And it
does.
seems as though every time it gets under that 20 mark, it seems like it's seemingly finding a reasonable bottom and then it bounces like that 15, like you said, 15 to $20 mark.
Exactly. And then if we bust over that, then that's pretty much a sign for me that the bull market and the retail traders are like go time. Because anytime we've gone over this, and you can history check this of March, of August, like these are all times that we were just seeing a reversal in the market. So it's a good compass. Fox Royalty,
Yes.
alive and well.
One of my favorite companies, gold company. We've had the CEO on the show many times. Class act, very professional. They've been one of the strongest companies out there in the midst of a really tough small cap pullback in the marketplace. These guys have really been resilient. Plus, they pay a dividend, and I just believe that this is a company that's only going to get bigger and better.
And they just hit the NASDAQ this year because you brought them to us when they were still just on the TSX.
That's right.
And they were in the OTC and the TSX. So considering they've only been on the NASDAQ for a year, they have a 1.74% dividend. Go take a look at Rich's past videos and you'll be impressed because they're on a royalty model. So they don't really have to do much. They just collect the money. It's kind of cool. Kind of like, you know, how Michael Jackson gets his money on his music even long after. Same.
Yeah, royalties. That's right.
Okay,
Residuals and
Leah
royalties.
Core, what a beauty. Round 2.
Yeah, so Leah Core, I'm really proud of this. This is a company that we had on our show. Full disclosure, this is a sponsored client. And on my sign here, you see another company that's a sponsored client that I'll be interviewing tomorrow. So a lot of companies that are coming on our show right now, a lot of good quality companies, a lot of companies that I think have huge upside. This is one of them. And when we started getting into this, it was at like 8 cents. Now it's at 16, up 14% today. I believe it's up like 50% on the week. But I really like this company. They've got gold that they're exploring in Newfoundland. They've got a great team. They've got a great share structure. I believe it's like 57 million shares issued and outstanding, which is really tight. And I believe that gold right now, where it's priced around 2,000 for a lot of these junior miners, is at a place where there's a huge opportunity to explode. So
I think there is, because all the physical gold got bought up by all these countries before the US was falling apart. So now all that physical gold needs to be replaced by the miners, and that's where it comes in.
And I mean, look at the chart. You can see there's some huge upside here. I mean, this has been as high as 70 cents. So for this to go from 10 cents back to 70 cents, it could be a huge win for investors. I'm really excited about this company. I love when we have great companies on our show.
Same.
I think this has a chance to be a great company. They have a great CEO. He's very hardworking, very open-minded, not a wild, wild west type of guy. And that's why he wants to work with us, because he knows that we do a good job of putting companies out there, giving them exposure, giving them eyeballs, putting them everywhere. And I believe that this is a company that everyone should be excited about. It's LECR in Canada and LECRF in America. And I'm really happy that they're doing well. And I believe that they have a lot of upside.
They do. Like that spike right here is like right here, we've already breached a resistance. So there was a resistance here in January. We already breached it. So a little pullback, no drama. I mean, we're having a 14% day. So pretty awesome. Now you brought me this one and I don't know what it is. So fill me in on what Rosuru Mining and why the heck they just rocketed.
Okay, so this is a company that's in the middle of a negotiation for a large billion-dollar lawsuit. So I like those types of deals that have these billion-dollar contracts, billion-dollar lawsuits. So there's no guarantee they're going to win, but if they do, there's a massive windfall coming for this company. So that's why you see the stock is starting to run. It would be a mistake for me not to talk about them. If something moves, we want to talk about it. So I've been watching this since it was at 5 cents. I did alert our community about it around 10 cents, and now it's at 19 cents. I think it's been as high as 21. So put it on your radar, put it on your watch list, do your due diligence. I do not own it, but I've been thinking about buying it, and I'm waiting for a dip. And if it does dip back to that 10-cent mark, I'll probably take a position in it, maybe 10,000 shares. Because if it goes to $1 and I get in at 10 cents, that's a chance for me to turn $1,000 into $10,000. And if they do win a $1 billion contract through a lawsuit, I believe we could see it go to $1.
Nice. Now, this one caught us both by surprise today. Hello,
Yeah.
Roku. Look at you go.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, like we've been talking about it, but I did not think this was coming because Roku is streaming.
Yep.
And Disney and Netflix and all these, they've been taking a lot of drama on their streaming models because we have companies like AT&T who are back in business in the real world and doing stuff, because before these all exploded because we weren't in the real world. I did not see this coming, but well done, Roku. Do you get in now? No. Like that's just silly. They just had a huge spike. It's pulling back a bit. Wait till it settles. But I mean, it just spiked up 23% in a week. So 4 days.
I'm saying, Roku could go much higher because of the fact that Netflix did. And if I look at like best in class,
look at this.
If I look at best in class and I look at the fact that Netflix is best in class and Netflix exploded, and then I look at best in class with NVIDIA exploded, and then what followed NVIDIA? AMD. So what's going to follow Netflix? Roku. So I really feel like a lot of these stocks now that are coming off of 52-week lows are setting up for these huge moves.
That's right.
And I'm a little different in your thinking here. I'm thinking if you want to get into Roku, you probably got to get in pretty soon, because I just feel like you could really move.
The truth is, now that I pulled out on this chart, I'm with you.
Because if you look at Netflix and you look at NVIDIA, that's what they did. They went, bottomed out, exploded. And now people are like, okay, well, Netflix made its move. Where am I going to put my money next? And now they're looking at places like Roku. And I wouldn't be surprised to even see Fubo make a move. Because they got crushed.
Okay, Fubo on the list.
Yeah, Fubo TV, because they got crushed too.
AT&T's waking up.
AT&T is another one that has, I heard it today on CNBC, $16 billion in cash. $16 billion in cash. So I believe, and a 7% dividend. So I believe it's an amazing time to buy AT&T. Now I did sell my AT&T.
Whoa, it's up to 7%.
Yes, 7% dividend. So they got a huge dividend. I did sell my AT&T when they made their move over 20. I kind of felt like it was going to make this move back down.
And it did. And it came back to touch that same area. And then, we could go back to 20. That's still a really nice move. That's like a good 20%. So
if you can get in at 15 or 14.
Exactly.
I think it's a good
These
one.
ones we're just going to go through pretty quickly, but I think there's some decent alerts in this next little group that we should be on top of, right?
100%.
So you and I both agree that 125 to 127 is the key target point to pick up your Apple.
Yes.
Apple's getting big news right now because they just made an all-time high. However, every time they do, they pull back quite a bit. So if you're going to get in now, I think that could be really stressful. But what you can do is look at the rhythm of what it often does. And it pulls back 20 to 27% on the norm. So if you target yourself for that kind of a pullback, I think the next target could be about 140, between 127 and 140 should be the Mo zone, depending on that. So there we go. So I don't think now, yes, they're a monster, but this isn't the time to be jumping in. This is the time to be taking your profits. But Tesla, look at the rhythm.
Wow. Yeah,
and there's big things coming for Tesla. He was just in China to renew contracts. He was just in Malaysia. By he, I mean Elon, clearly. He was in Malaysia. I don't know what he's doing in Malaysia, but clearly something's happening. Something.
Yeah.
And then we have all the catalysts coming. Remember, we just talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is that there is very big grants going out for EV, which is Tesla, EV charging, also Tesla, and AI, also Tesla. So I'm quite sure that this is going to be like rocket fuel. Just wanted to say that.
I love Apple. I love Tesla. I've traded both of them. I've sold both of them this year, made profits. I love them both. I probably sold them both too soon. I'm waiting for them to bounce back down so I can get in again. But I mean, those are the trades that literally just make me money every time, over and over and over again. Like, I can't remember the last time I lost a trade on Apple or Tesla. My biggest problem with both was I sold too soon. But the reality is, I
You
love
took
both.
profits, and that's
Oh,
what you
yeah,
have
I
to be
took
proud of.
profits and I'm happy about it, but I should have held longer.
Yeah, but you're here to compound your money. You're not here to be Warren Buffett saying, "Oh, look, I held forever." Like, we're here to
Yeah,
make
no, for
money.
sure. Like I said, but at the end of the day, as an investor, when I analyze my trade, I could have made more money. So a lot more money. So at the end of the day, all traders always have to invest and have to analyze their trades. I won my trades. Most of my large cap picks that I invested in, I've won on this year. Shopify, Tesla, Amazon, Google, Apple. Those are my Fab Five. I invested in all five of them. I was public about it, made videos about it, put all of them in my top 10s so far, all of this year, plus Bitcoin, plus Ethereum, all seven are up. I've sold all five of those stocks. I'm now sitting in cash, waiting for an opportunity to get in them again because they're all very high. They're all around 52-week highs now. But I haven't sold my Bitcoin and Ethereum because I believe my Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to go way higher over the next 2 years. And I'm willing to hold through the ups and the downs and the volatility.
I want to show you this rhythm.
Uber.
Look at Uber.
I love Uber. One of
The
my top
reason I
10
brought out
dreams.
Uber is used car sales have gone down in record numbers. New car sales have gone down in record numbers, but Uber is rising.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
love
reason.
Uber. I
A
love
lot
Uber,
of
one of my
people are
top 10.
realizing that it's a hell of a lot cheaper to have Uber. Plus, you can send your kids to sports in Uber now because you don't have to be 18 to get an Uber ride. So there's so many new things that are coming, but we are now back to IPO prices.
Yeah.
Not
I love
only
Uber.
that, look at this rhythm. So here was IPO, and here we are today.
Right back.
Now, here was pandemic bottom out, and then here was the world came back out of the woodwork. Now look at the trend. This last trend, so IPO, bottom out, boom. We have the exact same trend line forming.
That's crazy. That bottom is almost a year ago to the day.
Exactly. So if you
June
don't
11th?
see this, you are blind as a bat. I do expect Uber to come back and test this trend line, either right here at like 35, or if we're really lucky, 32. But then I see a next little stairway happening. So don't say I didn't warn you. These two are Chinese. Auto Home is the used car platform. Like, what do we have? You know, Auto Trader that they use through Canada and US?
Yep.
This is China's Auto Trader. Asia's,
Interesting.
not even just China, it's Asia.
ATHM, put it on your radar, put it on your watch list. ATHM, that's a new pick, guys.
Yes, and it is. I got a bunch of new picks. You're going to be so stoked.
Fantastic.
So this one has a crazy upside. The only reason they were held down is because everybody was locked up. Now, Alibaba. Alibaba is the Amazon of China, and they ship. I actually just got my first Alibaba order here in Mexico, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And it worked, and it was fast, and I'm stoked about it. So I'm now going to be like using Amazon and Alibaba. Stoked about it. Anyways, huge upside. The reason Baba came down, I mean, I was a Baba holder for a long time, and then I sold during all the China drama. And now it's 40% low, 20% lower. Let's check, because I had bought it around 120 originally. Okay, so about 30% lower than it was the original time I bought it, and I did well. Now we have an all-time high of 313. I think they're great. Okay, Goose. The reason I brought Goose up is it's summertime. Summertime is where we have, this came up in my calendar. Usually I buy a Canada Goose in June or July, almost every year.
Makes sense. Nobody's wearing their winter coats in the summer, right?
Exactly. But then come winter, she spikes up. Every single year, over and over, it hasn't failed. So the reason I grouped them together with the Chinese stocks is because Canada Goose is now like the luxury, like part of the Chinese luxury brands.
Interesting.
Weirdly enough. But that's that. And it's juicy looking. It's
yeah, it looks like it's
out.
right at the bottom. It's perfect.
That's right. This is the time. So don't say I didn't warn you. Speaking of, we've seen a lot of retailers do well. Was it Gap last week that did well? We had Abercrombie do well.
Yep.
We had Lulu. The reason I brought up Lulu, I'm not saying to get it now because they're pulling back, but Lulu did well on their last report, which is right here, right? Because the poor are poor, but the rich are getting richer. So when you're looking at these kinds of brands, they're not affected so much, just for the record, because the rich are still rich.
Yeah, the rich are still buying.
That's right.
The rich haven't stopped spending money.
I just wanted to announce, finally, after all this time, Aritzia is in my buy zone.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
Patience pays.
I love Aritzia. I'm like a hardcore customer, even from Mexico. I love Aritzia. I have people deliver me things from Canada because I love the store. But not only that, people are back to work. And this is one of the top, and they're expanding all across the US as well. This is one of the top like workwear, casual business, but kind of like a Lulu. So don't say I didn't tell you that I waited, what, a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years?
Wow. For
this to come to where it was, and now it's here. So patience pays.
Don't say you weren't warned. It sure does.
Got to look at ARC Innovation. We called this at the bottom and we bounced off of it. So if anybody remembers anything about anything, when we had the pandemic and the world was falling apart, it's not much different than seeing a recession. Regardless of whether people believe a recession is coming or not, there's some ugly things happening in the market. Really ugly things happening in the market. Those light up things like GameStop. They light up things like innovation. Every time we've had like big drama in the market, the NASDAQ goes higher and innovation and tech will go higher. It was stifled, but it's starting to wake up. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, this one I had to pull up. This is Zillow. Zillow is an online real estate platform.
Yes.
So is Open Door, but I took them off the list because I had too big of a list. But
ooh, that
Zillow
chart looks nice. I like that chart.
And straight it does. So I did a little fact checking. Zillow is not dependent. It is not dependent on whether a house sells or not. This is listing based. So when people are coming out, so as you know, the housing market was hot as hell, right? All through the pandemic was hot as hell. And then all those houses were listed, but then they all sold. So this is why Zillow spiked. It spiked because all those listings flooded to the market, and it came down because no other listings were coming up because they were all selling like hotcakes. But now with interest rates coming up, and people are getting to the point where they're not going to be able to afford their mortgages anymore because inflation's got pretty out of control, guess what? They're going to start listing their homes again.
Yep.
And you can actually already see an uptick. And I looked at this and I'm like, oh, snap, it's history repeating. Look.
Well, they're going to have to sell their home soon or they're not going to be able to make their payments. They're going to have to walk away from all their equity.
Right. Oh, the defaults are coming. And they're already saying that like commercial defaults are coming. That's going to affect the banks. But these guys are going to pick up all those listings. And considering they busted resistance already sitting at 46, last major drama chopped them up to 200. So don't say you weren't warned. Okay, these two I find super cool. This RKLB, Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab, look at what they did. I'm just going to pull this up for you right now.
And I'm writing these all down, guys. Like if I don't have a pick, I write it down. I just keep adding it to my watch list and I try to watch as many stocks and cryptos as humanly possible. That way you never miss any move in the market.
Virgin Orbit just sold a whack of assets to Rocket Labs.
Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
A whack of assets. So they just picked up some big stuff. Virgin Orbit had some dramas because nobody really cared about what they're doing, but clearly they have a lot of IP that's valuable. And Rocket Labs has been as high as 21. It's sitting at $5. Wow. I did a little bit of digging, do your own DD, but it looks juicy AF to me.
Okay.
This one, we've talked about Blade a few times.
Yep.
Blade Air Mobility, they've been picking up a ton of contracts. Like a ton of contracts.
A lot of these companies that have been annihilated are now starting to find bottoms and are just dying to make a move. So
That's
with a
right.
little bit of news, you know, a big earnings, a big merger, an acquisition, a raise, a lot of these stocks are starting to make big moves off a little bit of news because they're just so heavily oversold, and they're really a short squeeze candidate. I mean, you look at these charts, they're literally set up. Amanda does an amazing job of breaking these charts down. They're set up perfectly.
It's a perfect setup. And this is pretty much like mid-bottom. And they just got a higher rating. A lot of people have had their ratings decreased. And Oppenheimer just raised them 50 cents from $6 to $6.50, maintaining an outperform rating. And that's coming off a bottom at 371 with the potential of $20. And if you look at the things they're doing, it's pretty attractive. So there's a 450 in there. Just wanted to say
450% upside.
hell yeah.
I like that. Now you're speaking my language.
Right? Okay. These guys have taken a lot of drama, mostly because of supply chain issues. However, they've really cleaned up a lot of stuff, and there's semiconductors. So this is a supply and demand thing. We don't have a lot of semiconductors that are actually producing. These guys are. So they took drama, the stock took drama, but there's actually some really good upside on there. And I think their drama's over. So word up on that. Like, this is a weekly chart. So when I show you on the 4 hour how long they've been bottomed here, look at that.
Yeah, another
Like,
one that's
like an accordion ready to explode.
ready to get, just needs a little news, something good, and a short squeeze candidate. That's essentially what's going to happen to a lot of these stocks. They've been so beaten up, and so much money's gone into the large caps that these small caps now are setting up to explode.
Exactly. Now, you and I have been doing these weekly for a while, even though we've only been on YouTube for the last 3 weeks. So I have to resurrect our cybersecurity, because we bring out cybersecurity every once in a while, because when it's time to rip, it's time to rip. Cybersecurity, these guys were 10 baggers through the pandemic, because as we know, there was a lot of drama. I bought CrowdStrike, I guess, about 3 weeks ago, and I did sell it today.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I got a little profit on it, and I'm pretty happy about that. So it took a nice little run.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Pretty excited about it.
I
So
bet.
I actually bought it lower. I bought it at 123. And we were on session the day I bought it. So I took a nice little profit on it. Anyways, needless to say, the rhythm is absolutely gorgeous. The reason I'm bringing this up again is signs everywhere, the signs. There was a big report that came out. I don't know if you saw it. Well, first of all, we already know that Russia sold a lot of cyber intelligence to Iraq and Iran. Just saying. We also know that the US put out a report saying their electricity grid is at high risk right now for attacks. That came out about a week ago. And pretty much when that came out was when this really started to spike. CrowdStrike is one of the tops, like along with Palo Alto, which we'll get into a second, one of the tops. So these guys have been rocking all year without fail. And then they held tight for a bit, but we have 73% on the year on CrowdStrike.
Wow.
Yes.
Quietly up 73%. I didn't even know it was up 73%. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got just over 23% out of it, but
Hey,
whatever.
not
I
bad.
wish I got that full 70. Zscaler. Zscaler is also cybersecurity, more home-based, but again, a giant, and they've busted resistance. Not only have they busted resistance, they're up huge. They're up huge. So look at them from May, what was that? May 5th? No, yeah. In a month, they're up 80%.
Wow. Huge.
So this is what I see, that 2019 rhythm is alive and well. Palo Alto, so they're having a pullback today. That's not a drama, because those were a big spike. And I think it's just beginning for a lot of these. Palo Alto topped out. So they just had like some really big results and they topped out. They're due for a pullback. I wouldn't touch it, way too high, but just to show you what's happening in this sector. And these are all giants just like them. Cisco Systems, another huge giant, exactly the same rhythm. Busted resistance and totally on the move. So crazy upside. Splunk, I traded Splunk last year. And it was just, I think, around 110 when I got in, and I took a nice little run on it. I like Splunk. So same. You really just got to pick your pile, but they're all juicy. Like they're so juicy. So there's Splunk for you. That was the bottom. They've clearly already come up. They need to pull back a little bit, but it's got a nice rhythm back. Okta is another one. If you weren't watching Okta, let me show you this. It's pretty juicy. Okta has gone up, only 30%. My bad. They're a little slow to the party. Rapid7, there is a lot of hedge funds in Rapid7, like a lot. So I think it's a good one to put on your watch list. It's super slow right now. However, they're setting up for a takeover, and there's a lot of good news around it. So if they do, it should be juicy. And we have an all-time high that was pretty recent, a year ago, of 144.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. Now the funnest part of this, look at this. Our AI list just keeps growing and growing.
Everybody's getting into AI. Just the mention of AI is making stocks explode.
That's right.
And guys, everyone is using AI. I'm using AI. Everyone's using AI. So every company can say that they're using AI. Like, it's very easy for a company to say they're using AI. It doesn't necessarily mean anything necessarily different for their financials, but some companies are doing it better than others. Let's talk about it.
Well, I think it actually will make difference on financials on the long run, because if you're using robotics over humans, you don't have to pay that workforce. So that will show up on the books over time. So before we go into the C3 AI, let's look at Google. Google is an AI giant as well, and they have been moving and not stopping. Like, we've been talking about Google for so long now, right?
Yeah, one of my top 10 picks, one of my
like,
top 4 for 2022 to hold for 2023.
right.
One that I personally owned and sold and took profits on, and was just delighted to see it do well. And I still think it has a long way to go. Oh,
it sure does. Like, it totally does. But now let's go back to like the big giant of AI that's been the compass for, like, when I talk about compasses, C3 AI, I think, needs to be the compass that we're all looking at.
Yeah, it's a pure play AI deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pure play AI deal.
Exactly.
Because this is an AI company, right? So
and
everybody's buying it. Everybody wants it.
Last week when we were here, they were on a dip, and we said, when they're on a dip, this is your time to pick it up. And these are the daily candles. So as you can see, like, we had a really good call on C3 AI. It's pulling back. You just got to find that bottom, but it looks like there is going to be a support try to build around $30. So again, this is a new sector, but I think it's going to be something that we haven't seen before since, like, the internet. So got a couple new ones in here. When we were talking last week, a lot of these small AI companies weren't making any money, right? And they were just kind of like we saw in the cannabis sector and the psychedelic sector, and a lot of like gold miners would just change their name and say AI, and then they spike. However, we have some cool ones in here that are actually doing some pretty interesting stuff. So C3 AI, use it as your compass. When it sparks, there's a very good chance that some profits are going to pull off that and roll into the next ones, and they cycle. And you can time and look at these charts. It's bang on. It happens every time. Symbiotic, Sim. Look at this monster.
Whoa.
Warehouse robotics.
That's a new one. Look at that chart. Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm talking about. I dug deep. I was like, I am going to find, because last week you and I had this solid debate, and I didn't like walking away feeling like I didn't win that debate. So you're like, a lot of these aren't making money, but guess what? I got ones that are.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
These guys are.
I like that. Well, I got my pen handy and I'm writing these all down.
Isn't this juicy though? So there's a trend line that's clear as heck. So I think all we got to do is play this trend line. So
Wow.
wait for the pullback and tap the crap out of it. Rich TD always says he likes those big boards that are between $30 and $60 because they're a nice entry level. And I got a
Yep.
few of those. So you'll be
Perfect.
prepped. But I think
Perfect.
around 35, testing this trend is going to be your safe zone. But it's a monster. Like since March 2nd, how much has it gone up? 212%.
Why? Wow. SYM up 200%. We just found about it now.
Yeah.
How do we miss this?
I don't know. But literally, I've spent
Never
so
even heard of
much
these
work
guys.
digging deep. But it's okay. I got ones we didn't miss, and you're
Hurts.
going to be stoked about it.
Hurts.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
no
better late
worries.
than never.
Got another one. CRNC.
All right. All right.
I forget. Oh yeah, these guys. Oh, did I write it down? Internet and Media AI.
Okay.
Internet and Media AI. So that's pretty cool. We have 36% up on it already. Clearly it needs to pull back, but I don't think it's going to pull back far. I was doing a little bit of digging on these and I was like, oh, they are money makers. So, you know, companies like Google and Amazon can use guys like this to get their customers, because you know how they're always listening to us and suggesting us what to buy. These are the kind of guys that do it.
Well, speaking on that, we have 10 minutes left.
Okay, I'll super speed, but we only have like 10 stocks left.
Perfect.
Upstart hasn't stopped. And I don't think it's going to. Again, they're AI.
I love this pick.
I know, me too. Like very much so. But it's still juicy as hell. Like, you know how we were looking at Roku and I was zoomed in too close and I'm like, no, I don't know. It might top out. No.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just-
This thing's been as high as like, I think it was like $400.
Was it for, oh, snap, you're right, 402.
Yeah. It's been as
Whoa,
high as
$402.
$400.
There you go. So
Crazy.
and they're giants in the AI world. I never saw a rhythm so tight like this. When we talk about like the springboard accordion, this is tight AF. That does not look like a peak to me. That looks like we're busting resistance. So tap it or forever hold your peace. Sound is one of the one that Soundhound, sorry, has been in your top list
Yes.
quite a few times.
Yep.
The pullback is juicy, and every time they pull back and they hit this level, they fly. So the fact that we just saw a big run on C3 and then the 1 penny one that I have in here in a minute, that usually runs into the next one. So if you missed one of them, you have Upstart is on an 8% pullback. That's juicy, right?
Yeah.
Symbiotic is at 12%, almost 13%. It's going to pull back. These things happen.
Of course.
This one you introduced to me this week.
Yeah, they were on CNBC, another company getting into the AI space. And anytime I hear anyone getting into the AI space, I immediately let you know. And we say, hey, we added to the list so we can keep everybody informed on everything that's happening. That's the idea here.
This is my favorite sector to trade. Along with Bitcoin miners, this is now my favorite sector right now.
I mean, it's the hottest sector, so it's got to be everyone's favorite.
Totally. So $32 and a recent all-time high of 110. That was just before Christmas. Hallelujah. Oh no, a year ago. Guard Force. This one was new to me and I like the chart. Look at this. Monstrous chart. $5.50. And they've been as high as 170 not so long ago. Guard Force AI maintaining a buy rating, and EF Hutton adjusts price targets on Guard Force AI from $14 to $30.
To 14 from 30. So they've reduced it to 14. But still, 14 is much better than 5. So
I went the backwards way. Whatever. Maybe let's just pretend I was being psychic and they're going to rechange it.
Yeah, you never know.
Way, there's a couple hundy in that and we can't complain. So I got 3 more exciting ones. Okay.
Yeah.
This one is called iCAD.
It's in my top 10.
Let me tell you what iCAD is doing with their AI. They're diagnosing breast cancer.
I know it's my top 10. It's my 10th pick for June.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, snap. I watched your top 10 too. I missed this one. Well done. I want some.
Yeah, it's got potential big time.
There is so much money in cancer diagnostics that if they're able to identify breast cancer, then their technology can identify many others. So I don't see this ending as breast cancer. I see this going ridiculous. So props to you. Totally props to you. I thought this was mine. Fine. Is this one just mine? This is HSCS. Do you have this one yet?
No.
Heart Test Laboratories. So do you know what? Okay, well, let's just think of all the problems from COVID. A lot of people have heart problems now. When you have a heart problem, any signs of heart trouble, the first test that's done on you standard, the very first test is an ECG or an EKG if you're in the US. This company developed AI for their EKGs. This is the most common test in all of North America. And heart disease is on the rise in crazy, crazy levels. It's at $1. It's been as high as $6 August a year ago. So pretty awesome. Anyways, they've right here, Heart Sciences announced completion of their patient enrollment for their study of MyoVista is their ECG AI machine.
Now you're gonna have to go really fast. We only have 5 minutes left.
Okay, Verifone, we're almost done. Verifone is another, or Veritone, sorry. Veritone is pretty interesting. AI, crazy dip, awesome outlook. Do your own DD.
I like the chart. Looks good.
Yeah, the chart is good. Affirm, I had this on my list before they announced their little exciting news.
Deal with Amazon. Massive,
right?
massive for Affirm. And you can see they're having a nice day today too.
Oh yeah, they had a beautiful 2 weeks. This pullback is no drama. People like to take profit.
Yep.
Bots is the ETF for AI.
Oh wow.
We've been yeah, I brought this a couple weeks ago and it hasn't stopped. Clearly it's on a pullback, but it's been doing really awesome. So bots is the ETF. I looked into what's in the ETF and it's a pretty nice bundle. It's a nice package.
AI ETF bots, BOTZ, BOTZ.
Yes.
Bots.
ZZ, I never know which way. Nerdy, NRDY.
Yep.
AI as well. It's commonly known, but the rhythm is juicy.
Chart looks good.
Don't say I didn't show you. There's a pretty strong resistance here at about $455. If it busts that, bless you, but that would be the point I'd want to sell at.
Okay.
Midtech Systems, again, they're making money and they're growing giant. Clearly the chart is growing on a pretty giant level as well. They look like they've come off their right here. They've already come off the resistance, doing good. BBAI, we've talked about lots of times. The reason I brought it up now is it's back to that same zone that it likes to bounce from. So seeing that C3AI had its bounce and AITX had a beautiful rip, the ones that are pulled back are the ones to target. And this has been about the area that it likes to go. Between 140 and $2 has been a good buy zone all the way along. So don't say you weren't warned. MWRK, just finishing up a pullback. Best place to get that was around 8 cents to 10 cents, and it's on its way back. This guy has been rhythming as well. We brought this at 5 cents, and it's been holding above 8 for a while now. This giant you brought us, holy snap, super penny, not making money yet as far as we know, but their first 2 letters are AI.
Yeah, penny stock, super risky, AITX. I've actually talked about this one for a few years. Super volatile, super risky, but now that AI is back, this is one that you definitely need to watch if you want to buy penny stocks. But like I said, super risky and proceed with caution.
Exactly. It just finished a run. So you got to look for the ones that it's going to cycle into. Lemonade is just making juicy levels. Lemonade has been paying us for weeks now, and it hasn't pulled back, but it was running with C3AI. So now that C3 is having a pullback, I expect the same for Lemonade, but we've had 92% in just a few weeks. And last but not least, T-Stamp, IDAI.
So I have to apologize. ICAD is a new one. I was confused between that one and IDAI. It was IDAI that was my top 10 pick.
The breast cancer and the EKG were my picks. I always said weren't mine. No, I don't have breast cancer. I think those are going to be ridiculous. ICAD and HSCS, because it's healthcare, and these are two of the biggest health problems. And they're at $1 and $1.30. IDAI though is a juicy one, because when it spikes in juicy ways, but also pulls back just as ugly. So 349% spike, a 264% spike. We're coming into a pullback. I think 180 is a good target, between 160 and 180. And even if you had a lower high, pretty much supports there at about 200%.
All right, we're done the list. Thank you so much, Amanda, once again for all of your chart analysis,
That was awesome.
talking about stocks, talking about crypto. You gave me a nice list of new picks here. I hope you guys wrote them down too. Thank you for watching. And Amanda, thank you for joining us again for episode number 3 of Stocks and Stacks.
Let's get it.
Hope you guys are learning. Hope you guys are earning. If you're not winning, you're probably not watching. We bring in the winners. We bring in the chart analysis, CEO interviews, and we bring them to you first. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, Amanda. Have a great day in Mexico. I know the weather's always nice in Mexico. We're having great weather here in Vancouver. All of Canada is really hot. In fact, the whole country is burning.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's so hot, it's on fire.
There's literally smoke. I don't know if you've seen this, but New York has been smoked out because of Canada.
Wow.
They are delaying flights in New York and in parts of America because there's so much smoke. It's now covering America. That's how crazy it is. Canada's literally on fire, just like our picks, our stocks and cryptos on fire. Amanda, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, guys. If you like these videos, smash the like button, comment down below, share the video everywhere, and subscribe if you're live. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm out. Peace.